All right, so the first and foremost thing when making any wig with a sewing machine and you are a beginner, it is important that you know the correct cap to use and how to prep yourself. So the first thing is making sure you're using the right cap. This is the best cap to use. Any other caps that you know within the series of wig making are not the best. This is actually the best because of how it's easier to work with through the sewing machine as opposed to the dome caps and the braided caps, which are the other caps that are used in wig making. So this is the best type of cap. So it is the same type of cap that looks like a manufactured wig. You can also use this for ventilating when you make lace units. So this is the best cap to use. The second thing is making sure you're pinning it on a canvas head that is the exact size of your client or yourself, depending on what you're making the wig for. So that's the next step. And then you want to make sure it's pinned nice and, formed around the canvas head, so it makes it a lot easier for you to draw the lines on this cap. Now, before you draw lines on the cap, depending on whether you're using a closure or not, if you are using a closure, it is important that you hand sew that down first, and then you will draw your lines. So wherever your your closure is going to be, place that first, hand sew it down, and then draw your lines. In this case, this is a cap where I'm not going to be adding a lace closure. I'm actually going to be sewing a circular, not a circular closure, but closing it off because it's a textured wig that's meant to be an afro, and I can just do that in a circular motion because I do not have a closure for that. But you can use a closure piece if you want to. So always start with your closures first and then draw your lines. In this case, I am going to be using a white pencil, a white eyeliner pencil or lipstick pencil or whatever you have that's white so that you can be able to see it. You can also use red if you want to, but I prefer white because it's easier to clean, it's easier to see, and you don't want any other color in the hair. This can easily be washed out or it's gone by the time you start sewing, to be honest. So I've already went ahead and draw the first line because this is where I'm going to start with my circular motion as far as closing the wig off. Make sure you have a sharpener around because by it being the particular thing that you're using, it needs to be sharpened as you go. So this is me drawing the lines. And your idea is to be able to have these lines about a finger space apart. All right, so with that, for your prepping, take your time. These are your guides. You will be sewing along these lines. So now you have something to look at as you are in line up with, as you are applying the tracks to the cap. So take your time. Make sure you got a finger space apart. If you are, for any reason, using hair that is layered, say for example, 16, 18, 20 inch, and you're taking each section for the amount of length, it is totally fine to X out where you're going to stop with your 20 inch and where you're going to stop at with your 18 inch and then your 16 inch at the top. So if you're doing from long to short for layers, mark your sections for each bundle of hair. Or if you're doing it the opposite, where you're doing the tapered short to long, just make sure you have your sections. The reason why you want these sections is because it allows you to fill in if you still have hair left in that 20-inch bundle or that 18-inch bundle, if that makes sense. So each section, try to fill all of the hair within that section. So start off with the lines first, and then you can go in between the lines to fill in the rest of the hair, and then move on to the next bundle in length, and move on to the next bundle in length. So that's how you prep yourself for your sewing machine wigs.